Welcome to Ohio Tabletop Gamers. Today, I'll be giving my thoughts on the Goblin Reclaimers Shooter Mob, what I consider the equivalent of the HDF infantry unit. So let's go ahead and take a look at what these guys are all about. So, out of the box, the Shooter Mob is a unit of 10 for 95 points. They're quality 5, defense 6 with mischievous. That is the army-wide rule, as you already know. They come with 10 scrap guns with a range of 18 inches with 1 attack, no AP. And they get 10 close combat weapons, each with 1 attack, no AP. So very basic, very standard, very HDF infantry-ish. That's what I said. I know I'm comparing them, but it's very much the same thing. There's some really good upgrades, so let's go ahead and see what they have. So you can replace up to 2 scrap guns with a bubble rifle, 24-inch, 1 attack, AP4 for 10 points, a chucker rifle, 18-inch range, 2 attacks with rending for 15 points, a smasher rifle, 12-inch attack, 1 attack, AP4 with deadly 3 for 15 points, a flamer, 12-inch range, 1 attack, blast 3 with reliable for 20 points, and a bolt smasher rifle, 18 inches, 1 attack, deadly 3 with tear for 20 points. So for those of you that don't know, tear is against units where most models have tough 9 or higher. This weapon gets an AP4. So that's pretty good for that weapon. Just want to let you know what that actually meant. Now, depending on what you're wanting to do, I'm replacing 2 of these weapons for any of these. Personally, if I was going to do it, I would either go with the bolt smasher rifle or I would go with the chucker. The chucker is the one that I go with the most. But quite frankly, with a unit like this, I really wouldn't use the upgrades personally because of some of the other upgrades it has, and you'll see why here in a second. I want to keep it kind of cheap if I can. So, and this is the reason why, because you can carry a junk banner, which gives you the courage aura for 10 points, or the medical, training, which gives you the regen for 40 points. Yeah, I'm gonna put the regen on these guys because, like I run the HDF, I want this unit to be sticky. I want it to be durable. So I'm going to run these with, with none of the gun upgrades, but I'm going to use these so they last a little bit longer on the field. But that is a personal thing. You can run them obviously however you want, but that's how I like to run them. And finally, you can upgrade your models with trash goggles, which gives you a good shot, which is a +1 to hit for 20 points. And you can upgrade all your models with Ramshackle Crew, which gives you the Instinctive rule for 15 points. So Instinctive, when this model is activated, if it is able to shoot or charge an enemy unit, then it must immediately attack the closest valid target and gets a +1 to hit rolls for the attack. Now, if you couple this with good shot, instead of, your quality being on a 5, you're going to be hitting on 3. So it's decent, but you have to target the closest enemy unit. With their weapons being kind of crappy, I'm not sure if this is really a viable, way to run them using the points, because you need the points for other cool things, but that is a personal preference. I won't, don't let me stop you from doing it if that's what you want. I just want a unit that stays on the table on an objective a little bit longer. I don't really care about the shooting with this unit. All in all, it's a very basic unit with very basic upgrades. Again, it depends on your style of play and what you're wanting these guys for. I just like how it's a cheap way to get a 10 or 20 Goblin unit out there. With a regen and maybe a courage boost on it. I don't always use a courage boost. But definitely a regen on these guys and let them, sit on an objective. The regen really helps them. And I don't really care if they have big guns or anything like that with them. I just want these guys to sit on an objective or near one and help contest something, be hard to completely take down. That's what I use them for. So it's very much, and I know I keep referencing this, but it's very much the way I would run an infantry unit in the Human Defense Force. I don't care about the killing. What I want is I want a big unit that makes my opponent have to chew through them, and the regen just really helps make them even more difficult to chew through. But yeah, the upgrades aren't bad. I mean, the Chucker is probably the one that I would go with the most if I was going to add. And I actually do have the models with the Chuckers because I have done that a couple times. But honestly, the way the Goblin Reclaimer army is, and it is a very good faction, I want those points for the other cool things that it really packs a punch. These guys are to hold things and to block things, the chaff. And so I really don't need to be spending too many points, on weapons that aren't going to make a huge difference. Not that they won't, but it's just I have other options of units in the Goblin Reclaimers that definitely will make a difference, where these guys, it might make a small difference. So I just want them to hold something. But it's a very personal thing, and you run them the way you like to run any army. These are just my thoughts. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not, but I know that the way that I've been running the Goblin Reclaimers, I've had a lot of success with them. May not win every game, but I at least tie with these guys mostly. Unless I goof around and try to kill Chaos Carl in the last video I used the goblins. I kind of, I tied the game, but I kind of gave that whole game up just so I could kill Gunter's model. So that was a lot of fun. Anyway, besides just goofing around, the Goblin Reclaimers is an excellent faction if you play very aggressive. And since they're more of a horde army, it's actually a lot of fun to really run a horde army very aggressively. But yeah, I still want my shooter mob in there because I do want to have that tough to kill mob horde unit, if you will, and just hold stuff. Even if I'm going to sacrifice them all, it's going to take a few turns to wipe these guys out. Sometimes 3, sometimes the whole game. And that's what their job is. Again, you play the way you feel is best for you, but I really like the shooter mob, and the shooter mob works really excellent with my play style, because I do want to at least have a unit or two that is really tough to take off that field. And your opponent doesn't really want to shoot at them because they're cheap. They're like chaff. It's a waste of ammunition, but they have to. They cannot ignore these units. And with that regen, it really helps them stay on the board. So if you haven't looked into the shooter mobs because of them being more like chaff, think of it that way. You do need to have something that's going to basically infuriate your opponent, because it's tough to take them off the field. And they're wasting shots that they want to put on your walkers or your tanks or something else. But they can't because they got to focus on the shooter mob. So it's really good. I can't really say too many good things about the shooter mob. I really like them. They are definitely one of the cornerstones to my Goblin Reclaimer faction, the way I run them. So if you haven't run them that way, run them base with a regen, and let me know. I mean, you don't even need the officer in there. You can, if you want, obviously. Run it the way you want, but give it a shot. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to see how resilient they can be for such a cheap unit, and that's the whole point to them, I think. So anyway, yeah, I really like the shooter mob. It works very well, and I don't think I have run a game yet that I haven't had them in there. I don't think so. I mean, I do change up a lot of stuff just for the, fun of it, but I think I've always at least run one unit in every single game I've ever played with these guys because they're good at what they're for. They are to go up the field and get shot at. Soak up your opponent's attention, sit on an objective, and be, resilient. It's really cool. So give it a look. Yeah, they have a lot of uses. I just don't think that you'll get everything that you're wanting if you try to use these guys as shooters. I think that they're more like soaking up, rounds. At least that's how I use them. And then that saves points for you to get your gunners out there and make a difference on the battlefield. So anyway, I guess I will leave it at that. Yeah, shooter mob, awesome. Use them all the time. They are great. So I will leave you with that tonight. With that, I hope you have many more happy games ahead of you. I wish the best for you and your family. Take care.